Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrible and Home Care. Very glad you are joining us, however you may be joining us. Thank you very much. And I always get really excited when I have my friends and colleagues here from the Terrible Churches United Food Bank, the Executive Director, Lawrence D. Hart. Lawrence, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Sitting next to him, as always, the very proud, the very loud, the very lovable Spud McDonald.
I always sit next to him, even when we're not here.
Always,
after a while,
always
it gets to the point,
next to him.
Can you move over a little?
Yeah, but Spud, people love you so much they want to sit with you, near you, or on you.
Yeah, we just went to this ribbon cutting for the downtown development thing they're doing, which is going to be extremely cool.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful.
And they mentioned my name there.
Oh, of course.
And when Spud McConnell's here, I'm going, oh, man, I hid in the back on purpose.
No, but, people see you. We can't go anywhere without being noticed. But it's one of those things. I mention your name even when you're not around or when I'm not talking to you or I know that I'm going to see you. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah, people look at you like they go,
what? Exactly.
Right.
So speaking of good things in our community.
Yes.
Thank you guys for what you do every day. But I don't know if people realize how long you've been doing it. Lawrence, let's talk about how long y'all have been doing this and how long it's been being done in our community.
We are actually celebrating our 35th year of being home in Terrebonne Parish. For 35 years, all the money that we get donated, we spend here. For 35 years, our staff and employees get paid here. They spend their checks here.
Right.
Their families are here. And we're here to, we're the local and hometown food bank. And we've been here and we're going to continue to be here for at least 35 more years. At least that's the goal.
Wow.
So, but yeah, for 35 years, we've been here.
Wow. And let's talk about the exciting news. We're going to talk about all the things that have changed over 35 years and things that people have experienced, but you've got some really good news about the options of something you've been working on for as long as you've been there, huh?
Yes. One of the things, and we'll make something official, we have found a sponsor, and when the ink's dried, but I'll announce who the sponsor is, but we have a national organization, and we've been able to get the attention of a lot of national organizations such as Convoy of Hope, Samaritan's Purse, and Greater Good. And but this organization, we've been talking to them, and we're working with the local hospitals, and we're about an inch away from being in a position that when somebody's going to go to the local hospitals and they are food insecure, and as you know, when you are not well fed and you're trying to recover from a health issue, it gives you a lower recovery rate.
Right.
And so this organization is going to sponsor us to do home deliveries to a certain amount of people in this parish, and it would also be St. Mary, Terrebonne, and Lafourche. So this is something I've been working on for years.
Right.
We've been close a couple of other times, but right now it's in the hands of attorneys. So
Right.
it looks good.
Yeah, and it's like, the hands of attorneys.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Don't cross the line.
But again, it's one of those things that I think is important, Lawrence, that as we talk about how you're always trying to move forward some of these programs and being food insecure, we talk about very often when you guys come on, but needing that when people are trying to recover is so very important. And so I love the partnership with the local hospitals. I love the partnership that will obviously be in these other parishes as well. But we're looking at like a 3-month supply
Yes.
of being able to provide food for
Right.
them for their daily needs.
It takes a little bit more than 6 weeks for most major surgeries to recover. And so when we went to them, it's like, I need this much per delivery, and we're looking at least 3. And their eyes got about this big, and so it's like, we can try. And they came back and they said, okay, we got to finish up the memorandum of understanding. We've signed, but it's in their attorney's hands. So,
Okay. So we'll bring you back on and make that official announcement when everything is signed and we've got dotted lines, crossed I's, and dotted I's and crossed T's.
But as long as there's breath in my body, this has been a pet project of mine, and
Okay.
it just makes sense. The problem is, we don't want to get into the home delivery business normally, but
Right.
there are too many small families, households, and if you're there taking care of somebody, you don't have time to run to the grocery store. So it's more than just the person who's ill; it's the person who's taking care of them, or especially if you're at home and you have small kids. Who do I leave my kids with? The person who's sick, and that sort of stuff. So I can go run to the store to get this. It's not going to fill every one of their needs, but it's going to be a good foundation that's going to allow the person to eat better, recover better, and a little less stress dealing in the family, because we have way too many stressed out families right now.
Yes, we do. And it also prevents them from going back into the hospital. That's another good thing. We as social workers, especially me, I was able to cut my teeth in a hospital system 15 years learning that. And we saw exactly what you have seen over the years about these people that are hungry. And if we make it easy to get them the food, we make it easy for the families to prepare that, we make it much easier for them to recover wholly.
And people want to lower healthcare costs. One of the things that they don't realize are insurance companies, they charge back hospitals. If you go to the hospital and you have to be back in the hospital, or you return to the hospital for anything closely resembled to what they came back, they charge back the hospital like 2 and 3 times what they paid.
That is
and
correct.
that's devastating. And we don't pay. The hospital doesn't pay that. That's passed on to us.
Right.
So it's a way of reducing healthcare costs.
It really. Listen, one of the things in celebrating this 35 years is, I don't know, I certainly didn't realize it, but back in '87, as a young person in college, I probably ate some of these foods, but had no idea what they cost. Jen, put that list up. I want to be able to talk about the difference in food prices. So, Lawrence, thanks for bringing this today. Let's just go through this. Lawrence, I'll let you take the lead.
Well, Spike can go ahead and jump in. We look back, and when we started in April of 1987,
right?
Most people don't get that of all the food we hand out, we don't just hand out the food that we collect if we have gaps, because we want to give out something that's nutritionally complete.
Right.
We buy food. Right now, my food expense runs anywhere between $25,000 and $30,000 a month. So if you don't like your food bill, please be free to come take mine.
Take his, right?
Go on.
So Spud's going to go ahead and
go through
cover
this
the
with
difference.
us,
Well,
if you don't mind.
look, French now, and this is generally large eggs. That's the way
Okay.
you like when you just like 3 eggs in a thing. It's always large eggs.
Large eggs,
So
right?
it's- So
Not
and-
extra large. These are
no.
large eggs.
Yeah.
The average price of a dozen eggs right now is $5.32. If I find eggs, I don't care what color they are. If I find eggs that are below $4, I'm buying 3 dozen of them. Because back in '87, they cost 78 cents a dozen.
78.
78 cents. I dropped 78 cents on the floor digging cash out to pay my groceries. A loaf of Evangeline May or Velva. You remember Velva bread? Oh man, make a tomato sandwich with that. You got pink fingerprints all on the outside of it. A loaf of white bread back then. 20. Actually, it's a pound. It's a 20-ounce thing of that.
Right.
55 cents. Now the average price is $4.63.
That's actually today on Rouse's website.
Yeah,
463.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's and you go shopping. A lot of times you want to go shopping. Oh, let's go look for the best deal. But the bottom line is, guess how much gas ain't on this list.
Right.
So frankly, you go to try to find a store that for the most part has the best prices and go in for it. Bacon, sliced bacon, a pound of bacon was $2.14, which I still think is
That was
outlandish.
kind of high back then,
That's
right?
kind of high back then, but now it's $9.85.
It's almost $10.
$10, and it's not even a full pound. See, back then you got 16 ounces.
16, right.
Now you get 12.
This
if
is
you want
Oscar Mayer.
Yeah.
Oscar
And
Mayer.
Now, if you want to get that right brand bacon, that's like a quarter of an inch thick. It's a full pound, but that's only about 6 slices because it's so
Right.
thick.
So-
but that
right.
stuff's like $12, $13, $14 a pound. It's like I go buy gold jewelry for that. A round steak back then was $2.89. My mama would take a big round steak and make a smother it down.
Smother it down with onions.
and
Make gravy.
now I'm stuck. She made red gravy. I'm stuck on the name of it. But you pour it over spaghetti. Make it usually around with a big bone in it.
Okay, yeah, I
Now
remember.
it's $7.53.
$7.53
$7.53 a pound for that.
Potatoes.
That was and the good thing about potatoes, you could buy a couple of like a 3-pound bag or a 5-pound bag and stick them in one of them bins. Check it regularly,
Right,
But you
right.
can put your onions and potatoes in there, and they're going to last about 3, 4, 5 weeks,
Right.
But yeah, back then, a pound of potatoes was 28 cents. Now, an average pound of potato reds, those reds you burrow with,
Right.
$1.39.
139.
$1.39. And then, of course, milk for strong bones and teeth. Back then, it was $1.14 for a whole gallon of whole milk. Now, $6.14 is the average price. $6.14. If I find a gallon of milk under $5, I'm scooping up 3 gallons of it.
The eggs are 7 times what that used to be. The white bread is 8 times, and the grocery milk is.
Yeah, this ain't the guy playing the guitar, with all the seeds and all the rest of that stuff on his bread. Just plain old
This is
white
white
sandwich bread,
bread,
you
right.
know.
It's not pink.
No.
I mean, the people who are most affected by that, and we're still feeding about 36% of the seniors in this parish year to date.
Right.
And we'll show you some of the numbers on that later. But you have guys that the average median income back then was $24,000. Well, guess what? Most seniors' average income, age 65, is $24,000.
It's about the same.
So yeah, that's going back to 1987. So they're on fixed incomes. Can you afford to buy food on this?
Yeah, because again, we're talking just in general about 5, 6, 7, and 8 times just that short list
Yeah.
of what things cost. And back then, about $24,000 is what people got. Now, on average, about $24,000 is
Guess
what
how
they
hard
get.
it was to find turkeys this past thing.
Right. And so it's a really good point. Couldn't find turkeys. Y'all did a remarkable thing. Let's talk about that, Spud. What were y'all able to do?
I went on the prod. I went looking. I couldn't find turkeys. I couldn't get them at a decent enough price to
Right.
afford anything. What's the next best deal? I called a friend of mine who I'm dealing with food, and he found me 1,200 7 and 8 and 9 pound baking hens. They're just a little bit smaller than a turkey,
Right.
And they're that big, and boom, that's what we handed out. We just called them mini turkeys and handed them out. But
Maybe we got some baby turkeys.
babe, you like that?
Babe, you like that?
Petite turkey. That's what that is. But no, it served its purpose, and people had a decent Thanksgiving.
One of those things that I don't think people realize is the volume of people you help, and more importantly, the difference that it makes, especially at the holiday season. And so, can we talk a little bit about how Thanksgiving went and how much y'all were able to help people?
We every year, the week before Thanksgiving and the week before Christmas are our 2 busiest times.
Right.
Just in people, and this has got the large package where we give the box and all the goodies that come with it.
Right.
We did over 1,600 individuals at 4 different sites. And what we're doing now is our board has allowed me to change things so we can bring better services and to grow better and to reach those. When money's tight, driving 35, 40 minutes across the parish to get food is difficult. We've always tried to maintain one central campus. So the food bank is truly a food bank because we have other smaller outlets called food pantries.
Right.
And we have 7 right now. And so the deal is if we can get these food pantries at various parts around the parish and let them distribute, it makes it a little easier, even though we give 3 times at our one campus. So what the long-term goal for, just on 6 days, like I said, we served over 1,600 people. We're anticipating serving over 2,000 the week before Christmas.
Right.
On the Monday, we distribute at the main campus. On Tuesday, we at our Dulac facility. Wednesday, back at the main campus. Thursday, we have a new food pantry down in Chauvin.
Mm-hmm.
We have Bible Assembly of God on Friday at our campus, main campus again, and in Gaines, because we also give out in Lafourche Parish also.
Right.
And we are resuming either the end of December or beginning of January back in Fletcher, Thibodeau. So,
and Nichols.
Fletcher in there. Oh, Fletcher next week.
and
Yeah.
Thibodeau.
Yeah. So we have Fletcher also this week. So,
The other Fletcher.
The other Fletcher.
Fletcher
Right.
Schriever.
Fletcher.
Right.
So,
Right. And so the volume is amazing, but I don't know if people realize the number of people that you're impacting in the different parishes. Jen, put that next graphic up because it's remarkable to me. Lawrence, tell us about all of the things you're doing in all of these areas.
Blue Cross Blue Shield was kind enough to grant us access to a program called Datalytics. And so we started analyzing the people that we serve. What you see here, and each color represents a different volume of people. But that's done by zip code, not by parish line.
Right,
And
right.
that
Those are different
is the
zips.
people in which we impact. That is truly, each color represents, each section represents people in between Terrebonne, Lafourche, some St. Mary, and even getting into Jefferson, that we go ahead and we assist. So, of course, the pink is the highest denomination. You get into oranges, and there's actually 3 colors of yellow. If your television, and it's like mine, doesn't really differentiate some color well,
Right.
But it does that. So that looking at this, we've come to realize that we want to reach the underserved, and we want to reach truly where the people are in need, not just where we can find a facility that we can afford. It's getting unaffordable, to be quite honest with you. So what we're doing is, like I said, the goal is by the end of next year is to have 10 to 12 food pantries around, and where we can assist food. In addition to that, we're one of the new places I forgot to mention is we'll be announcing with Nichols soon the Colonel's Closet. We're going to provide food assistance to them on campus, and part of that agreement is if there's a storm or emergency, we will do emergency distributions from there. So my board was kind enough, very bold at the last meeting, to give me the authority to, we don't have borders anymore. We go where there's a greater need.
Wow.
And if it wouldn't be for Spud doing the job that he does, most people think that he just comes here and he's our humor, but he
I wanted
allows
to
me.
say, if you ever look at that map, put that map back up.
Put the map back up, Jen,
Put
if you
that
don't
map
mind,
back up.
please.
Now,
Yeah.
if you
But
squint,
he gives me the resources to do this.
doesn't it look like a crab monster?
Kind of does.
Doesn't it look like he's attacking you?
attacking.
He's about
That's
to
a crawfish claw
yeah,
over
well,
there.
and it's got a little head with a little funny hairdo.
Little funny hat on.
You know,
yeah.
and a tail in the back.
Yeah.
And everything.
It's something like a
Almost kind of like a lobster.
Something like that. Yeah,
We don't
some
have
kind
lobsters
of
here. We have
crustaceo.
crawfish.
It's
Yeah.
crustaceo man.
I like it. The fact that we're talking about feeding others, and you know, it's interesting that monster of a map is eating, and quite frankly, a lot of people are eating because of you.
30,000
Because of the
people is
two
where
of
we
you.
should end up this year.
30,000 people being fed and served balanced nutritional.
And that's an important point.
Right.
So a lot of people don't
As we
understand. I
close.
mean, they think they're eating, but they're surviving on drive-through and junk food.
Yeah.
You can't live off of that stuff. I mean, we give snacks, yes, we give that, but we get nutrition. We have nutritionists who
Right.
help us pick and choose what to put in there and how much of this and how much of that. So when you get food from us, it is healthy food.
And it's nutritionally balanced.
Yes.
That makes a difference for the seniors that need that balance, the people recovering from a hospital stay that need that, for people like me who need to eat better and
Growing
more healthy,
babies,
growing babies, and providing, and how challenging that has been to do and provide.
That's why we've added the St. Francis Vegetable Garden.
Right.
We have 3 gardens, and this year, by the end of the year, we'll pick up about 5,000 pounds that the garden is growing, and it is going to give to us and to hand out. But sometimes you don't realize the difference, and I love these stories. I was walking by the distribution line and watching a lady literally gave her a box of bread that had 4 loaves of bread. This lady is hugging a bread because she can't afford $5.
Hugging the bread, and that's what y'all do. Guys, thank you so much. That will do it for us at Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local here on HTV.